Hello, morning, ladies. My name is Chaz, and welcome to the What If Zuko. Here, what if, or not What If Zuko, it's a What If Warlock was in My Hero Academia. And Warlock, this character is called War and then Lock. Sorry if I talk a little bit quietly, or like too quiet thing. So yeah, the Zuko, or so he is a guy. He's way taller than his, or taller than Whitebeard, like whole head taller. But he was born like that. But his powers are infinity and zero. So, instead of Borea with him, let's get into the what if. So Warlock came from a family where he has like calm brothers, hunters, like calm. They're always like, all right, and they do a lot. And then they have like two sisters. Like one complains a lot, and the other gets into fights a lot. So yeah, and they have quirks, and none of them have the ability. So yeah, or actually three sisters. One likes to fight a lot, two complains a lot, and three wants to watch the world burn. Yeah. So he has a lot of, or like he has three sisters, or no, yeah, three sisters and three brothers. His family, he wants the strong ones, not the weak ones. So they took them to get their quirk checked, every single one of them, as only person that was quirkless that they found a castaway was Warlock. Hawk. Hawk. As, yeah, it's been like every generation, if they have a quirkless person in their team, they have to get rid of him. Like, banish him from the family. So, yeah. But he was banished. He didn't get jumped off a cliff thing, kind. So don't worry, he still lives. As his as when he got older, he hangs out with Zumi and Zuko, oh, and Bakugo, because Bakugo and Zuko and Zumi see him as a brother. In this alternate timeline, whoever, or there's a new type of ability thing, like instead of quirks, because quirks are common, but there's a legendary rare that no one even heard about. It's called abilities, like attributes, that gives it would be born. It doesn't need to have a scanner to, like. So, one day, he meets his sister that tries to beat up everybody. Yeah, her. She tried to pick on or not Bakugo, as she walks towards Bakugo with fire in her eyes, as she says that as before she even swings right at him, his friend and Warlock steps in. I know that you're probably saying Warlock is from some other game. Why are you putting him in this? What if? No, it's Warlock. It's actually his, like, his full name. Just his. There's no, like, I'm not trying to chain it to any other. So this is a custom character. I do these ones from time to time. So, yeah. So she says, what? Someone blocked my attack. As he says, you're too reckless with your power. Or as he sends her flying through a building. Yeah. Into a armored truck. Like, it was the villains were trying to get away from the armored, or the cops in the armored vehicle. But then a human girl comes out of nowhere, hits the armored truck so hard it made it fly into a lamppost. Yeah, or like absolutely annihilated the. Yeah. As Bakugo couldn't believe it. That someone that tried to, you know, whom, like, but only person that can sense the Warlock's power is himself. He can sense and that he is too powerful. So he would rather be weak than being too overpowered. As he walks over, as the armored truck is ready to explode with her inside of it. Yeah, with her inside of it. And As everybody's evacuating, the robbers are still knocked out. As a guy calmly walks in, as it was Warlock's brother is watching from afar, as he could see the fire, as the Warlock just walks up to the flames, as he grabs the villains. He grabs his sister, walks to the authorities, as the machine, it was carrying a really powerful, or actually it was just a normal armored truck. So it will blow up a bunch of cars. As as Warlock uses his eyes, his eyes turn green, he could sense as he stops time, as he goes for it, as he picks the car up. Let me remind you, he's only at age of 5. He's a little guy. As he jumps, from where he picks the tire car up, he jumps all the way to the thing, and when he let his eyes go back to normal, yeah, it exploded. Like kaboom. And he crashed into the water. As he gets up, he's fine. There's no wounds on him. So yeah, Zuko, I keep saying Zuko. Sorry, it's Warlock. As everyone thought he was dead, but then as Bakugo was there waiting, or he wanted to have a sign that he's alright, as they see him literally walking out of the water. His clothes were a little bit ripped, but he is okay. Hey? Yeah. As the same guy or his brother watched him come out of the sea, was a little bit surprised that someone actually survives that explosion stuff. As he nods his head, as he noticed there's some type of field thing, aura. Yeah. So Zuko, so Bakugo says, that's why we are friends. Okay? So yeah. So then the whole shenanigans but when he heard that his friend and is gonna get kidnapped by the sludge villain Bakugo, who as everyone screaming like bloody murder kind. But the warlock just simply walks right past the security or the thing as he says, you must be sludge. If you want a body, how about eat yourself in the afterlife? As Zuko, or as he grabs the sludge villain, he tears it away from his hands. As he used just a tactical plan. So he designed his own, because his reality thing that is like basically him creating new powers, or actually, yeah, so he creates a quirk for himself called, it's a mix between Ruben, or not Ruben, what's her name? It's a mix between the Ruben, or in his Delfruit and or actually Neko Ruben or Robin. Neko Robin. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Sorry. There's no ads for it. So this one. Mixed between her Delfruit thing and her quirk. The big hand. And so, yeah. So here, let me show you. See, big fist. So he makes a custom version. Whoops, sorry. So the custom version for him is that quirk. So he gave it to himself. But his body, like Zero, allows him to have multiple quirks. Inside of his body at a time. So, yeah. So, basically, he can become a Nomu, but with Zero allows him to keep himself from doing all the things. So Zuko so Warlock was like, well, it has a time skip, like, so let's say 13. Yeah. He meets Himiko Toga because she was a new student at his school. So, the as everyone was murmuring about behind her back about the how she had uncontrollable rage or uncontrollable quirk or side effect, as Warlock or actually Zumi is worried that someone might get cut because of her misbehavior thing. So, but Warlock sees this as a need to be fixed kind thing. Like, it's like a tumor. So, but he didn't tell them. He always keeps things so quiet that even some people don't even know what he sometimes thinks about. As he goes in, as he figures out, as he creates those bags that have like blood in them. I think blood eggs, yeah. Well, as he walks upstairs, because he knows that she's up here, because her soul told him that. As he walks up, as looks like an adult-sized man size, but he's at age of 13. So, yeah, so he walks over. He had to crouch down to fit through the door. Or, as he says, "Where are you? I know you're here somewhere." Himiko Toga. As Himiko Toga was in a shade. There you are. As the Warlock saw her, as he says, "There you are." As she says, "Go away, please." As Warlock says to her, "No, I'm actually here to help you with it. Okay? If you want some blood, that's what." Okay? As he walks closer to her, as she's trying to slice at him, but her nails couldn't even penetrate the hardening of his skin. As he walks or looks, or he crouches down in front of her, as he tells her that no need to be all stabby, okay? I know that your quirk is transformation. The side effect is basically you have to consume blood, right? Yes. But how do you know that? Your soul told me that you're suffering from it. The drawbacks, like the side effects to your quirk. So, as he grabs the blood thing, as he gives it to her, as her eyes start to widen, as she starts to consume the blood from that blood thing, as her eyes were clear, she's now more focused on, like, way more than usual. So she is now, or as he says, are you willingly to talk now? Oh, it's ended. Yeah, let's talk. And thank you for giving me the blood thing. You're welcome. So, how long has it been, like, since you have these, like, so-called old side effects? Well, after the quirk doctor told me that I had a transformation quirk, and he told me that I had a side effect to that quirk, and he wasn't willingly told. So, over years have passed. It drove me insane. But you said you were going to help me with it? Yes. See, I don't see, like, side effects to a quirk, I see them as a tumor that's gonna get removed before it infects you completely. So, see, I wasn't born like how rest of ya are. Rest of ya have quirks. I have the ability of infinity and zero. As she never actually knew, or she's actually met the first person that doesn't have a quirk. He has a ability. So what abilities do you have? Infinity and zero. I'm the most powerfulest one, and it can never be detected by. So, it basically, you heard about the infinity power, but zero allows me to take things opposite way, like take away. So, and isolate them. So, as she says, so can you like remove that side effect? Yes, because it won't hurt her. Just as he puts his hand on her head, and as he uses his zero power that he like trains with, as she was like getting her own body, like her own mind is back to being a citizen thing instead of like crazy. And because he took away the zero, or he takes away her side effect to her quirk. So he says that's all done. As she looks at her hands, and she doesn't or she never felt this such happiness from like removing the quirk. As she looks up at Warlock, as she tells him thank you, as she runs up and hugs him, 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 as he tells him that there's nobody in the world could do what you just did. Good. As, yeah. So, yeah. They both, like, sat down. He is big guy, so he can reach all the way. Yeah, so he basically talks to her. As she brings up a question of what his dream thing, what he wants to be when he grows up. As he says, well, I want to be a hero and have my own family. But it seems like every person that, or some people think I'm a big monster because of what I did. As Toga heard that Zuko, or that Warlock was basically took the entire like burn armored truck before it exploded up into space. As she walks over to him, or no, she was sitting right next to him, as she placed her hand on his lap, as she looks at him, or actually she climbed onto him, looked right at him in the face, and told him about, like, you want to be a hero and you want to start a family. Yeah. As Toga was basically looked at him with love in her eyes. And she says, how about be my boyfriend? And as Toga says that to Warlock. As Zuko, or as, no, he says, okay. Yeah. So, they went on a date. He were, like, and they go to UA. And then he meets his, like, his, like, or he meets Zuko, Bakugo, Zumi, and, of course, Ochako meets Zuko. And Bakugo and Zuko And Zumi respects Warlock because, and for his choice of, and when they heard that Zuko, or that Warlock became a boyfriend to Toga, that, like, he like, got saved by him. So he has experience with crazy people. So yeah, he had yeah. So his brothers and his sisters are in class 1A plus. So if you guys don't know what the class A plus is, if there's extra students, it goes for like B2, but yeah. So Zuko he doesn't want to hurt anyone, as he shows his true power, or his true quirk. As he says, suck your blood. As, or whatever Nico Robin says in the anime, where bunch of hands, like biggest hands that they ever see, grabs like 1-pointers, 2-pointers, 3-pointers, and crushes them, smashes them. Yeah. And so after that internship thing, the ball throw, or actually, Zuko, or they don't know what quirk he, or what true powers he has. He could be in class 1A without them even knowing. But Toga and him were in class 1B. Yeah. So, sorry about that. Yeah, the Zook or Orlock thing. Sorry, I keep saying Zuko, but the Warlock and Toga are in class 1B. The this yeah. Yes. So Zuko was basically a so Warlock doesn't actually talk to anyone else except for Toga. And of course he talks to class 1A like Bakugo and Zuko and Zumi. So then after of course the ball throw, he says, how far? Far as you could throw it. As Zuko, or as Warlock, threw hard, and as it like really went, it almost went, or it was infinity, or as he says, huh, I didn't know that my favorite, or I did not know that it knew my favorite power to who, like, truly desire. And they're like, really? Is that what you, yeah. But he already has it, but he's not gonna tell them because it's only people that do know is actually between him and Toga. Because he doesn't want to show it to his friends. He keeps it, or he keeps it away from them because he's afraid that they might overuse his power for their thing. So that's why he is scared to, like, admit that he has this power because they might end up using it for their own selfish reasons. Yeah. So basically the yeah. So most of them got like average one, but he's out of the ordinary. As so Toga, because how big he is, he's at 15, and he is a, like, he couldn't even go through the normal set of doors. As he's kind of used his powers to adjust his body size. He's a bit because the as he was the same size as Toga's size. Yeah. Or actually Dobby, it's just the one of those. So yeah. He looks tall, but yeah. So then I'm not gonna do the USJ unless I sometimes put Class 1A and Class 1B in the same situation. As so let's do that. So the Class 1A and Class B had to work together. They go into USJ. Then a portal opens up. Hand comes out. Normal stuff like that. The villains comes out. As the as Zuko, or as the Warlock was like, he literally had to sit in the middle because if he sits on the right, he makes it do a wheelie. So I'm not saying he's like overweight, he's just like so tall that he could just be, yeah. So he does the usual, as he's like, oh crud. Thinking this to my new quirk that as his body starts to, as they see him, like, because it's my new quirk. Or it's my quirk that has two different purposes. But there's also one thing that I forgot to mention in this video is that Warlock can remove he can move his body parts around. His stomach, his heart, everything into to his skin. Or all the way to his genetics. So that if he does die, he'll come right back. Yeah. Or, because he does actually have a quirk that allows him to do that. Let's change it to abilities. So, yeah. So then they're like, man, is it just me, or are you just shrinking down to fit through the door? As he says, I'm shrinking down to fit through the door. See, my quirk, I do have a actual quirk. Think about me as those inflatable floaties things. Once you take the air out, it becomes solid, or flat. But when you add air to it, it becomes back to where it was. You can shrink it, grow it, yeah. Wow. As some of them are like, wow, that's a cool power, right? Or that's a cool quirk right there. That is just too crazy. So you could be back to your normal self if you go through the door. Yep. And then so they do. And of course, Zuko. Or so then the pro heroes. Let me go to part 2. So, peace out, y'all.